Well, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, thanks for accepting the paper and for the opportunity to be here. My paper is not trying to prove anything. I'm not come here to state or to prove or to nothing like that. I'm just here to ask. The paper only tries to raise questions, and if we want to discuss, it will be a great pleasure, because the intent of the paper is just that, is to ask more than to answer. If we take a look at the current panorama we live, and the last speaker brilliantly said a lot about natural disasters, and so we see about global warming issues. We see nature as something detached. Like, we are not nature. Nature is outside. It's not man. It's nature and man. So, as Jacek told now, we have difficulties to live with our own waste, with our own residue, what we produce. So, it's not something new. Trash and residues from human living exist since our very beginning. But nowadays, the quantity and the quality of trash is unimaginable. We never had so many artificial things, and in a quantity that nowadays, UK, for example, ships lots of ships to China to get recycled, for example. So, solid residues nowadays are currently in the spotlight. But is trash something capitalist? Can we say that the trash, as it exists today in this quantity and quality, is this a capitalist product? This capitalist logic, or logics, that is something we can think about, treats recycling as a medicine for the youth. So, everything now is about recycling. You should recycle, you should save. But is recycling something new? If we think about tales from last century, since maybe 19th century, there was already industrial recycling. I'm not talking about recycling in a wider meaning of the term, but if we only think about industrial recycling, it exists since the very beginning of 19th, maybe the middle of 18th century. But when we look to the current picture, contemporaneous recycling tries to bring the money back. So we pick large quantities and different qualities of trash, and recycling tries to naturalize it as something that belongs again to our living. And it's treated as an unpainful medicine, as I said in the last slide, because if we have problems dealing with our residues, well, so now recycling can solve anything. Dangers become opportunities. But who makes recycling possible? Well, I'm here to talk about and bring the experience and give voice to some people that, as the last speaker said, not just some people, but large numbers of people in the world who survive from what we call trash, who survive from what we call garbage, from our residues. And this is some of the names that they have: scavengers, pepenadores, catadores, zabalim, waste pickers, recyclers, garbage collectors, truck drivers. All of these are involved and deal with what we consider trash or residues. Well, but how do all these people work around the world? Well, some of them work for the states. They're public employees. Some of them work for private capitalist companies. And some work informally. And I put this because not to enter in the concept of formal and informal work, so I'm explaining about this informal. Well, some of them work alone, no matter if it's for the state or for private companies, and others get collectively organized. And this is about something that I will point out in the presentation. I'm going to focus on the solidarity-based economy, for example. I'm going to focus about these people who, surviving from garbage in their daily struggles, they get collectively organized in order to achieve better living conditions, to achieve better ways of surviving in contemporaneous societies. So, I'm bringing some photos here. Are we talking about the same phenomenon and different answers when we look worldwide? Here in the left, I don't know if it's okay for everybody, but here in the left, it's from Chittagong, Bangladesh. It's the largest shipyard in the world where the big ships are sent and dismantled. And the workers, you can see the size of the work comparing to the size of the ship. They earn like $1.50 per day to dismantle the ships, so to recycle the metal. Here we have two pictures of a waste collector in Copenhagen, Denmark. And then I am solidary with the last speaker that said about third world things. And yeah, this is in Copenhagen, Denmark. That is probably one of the said most rich and civilized and top countries in the world. Well, there are waste collectors in the streets there too. Here in Portugal, Lisbon, some workers in a private company that separates and recycle trash. And these two pictures are in Brazil, in Porto Alegre, some informal workers who receive garbage from the public collection and separate and recycle it. Well, so I'm going to talk a little bit about each place that I spoke in the last slide. From Copenhagen, Denmark, on June 2007, last year, I was walking in Copenhagen, and as I told you, I showed a picture of a man, but I found on 2 different days a man and a woman collecting aluminum cans and glass bottles. Well, in Nihon region, I don't know if anybody has gone to Copenhagen, but it's a very famous place there. Well, I tried to talk to both of them, of course. The woman was from Turkey, and she told me that the residues were sold in supermarkets to get some cash back. So the woman is considered an informal worker, but she sells to the supermarket. That's a formal company. Yeah, informal. What's informal? Yeah. Well, the picture about the ship in Bangladesh, Chittagong, as I said, the place is the biggest ship dismantled worldwide. About working conditions, you know, to dismantle the ships, there are lots of dangers involved. The metal parts can fall into them. There is also chemical substances that are all around. It's said that until now, more than 800 people already died, and countless the numbers of handicapped. Well, but the profits are much more for the industries and for the intermediaries. What I mean by intermediaries, the people that hire these dismantlers for $1.50 per day and sell the metals to the industries. But am I talking about something new? No. Greenpeace, BBC, CNN, UNESCO, they all reported the situation in Chittagong, that if you Google it, you'll find more than 1,000 pages about Chittagong, but it continues. Nothing has changed. The ships are going there more and more. So, what is missing? And again, informal work? How? I mean, what is informal? Well, the picture about Portugal. Garbage workers work for private companies. They are, these are formal workers, yes, under the state naming. And they work to meet European Union recycling goals. Yeah. But you know, now I want to focus on something about the country, about Portugal. For example, if I said that in Bangladesh, that they were informal workers, if you go to Portugal, you cannot collect waste on the street, for example, and sell these residues, although they are recyclable or not. Why? Because anybody in Portugal who trades residues must have a seal, a stamp, like something like that is given from this society that is an organization created between the public, state, and companies. So, this organization was a joint venture between the state and the private sector, and this organization decides what can be recycled or not. So, for example, although in Brazil there are some rubber that is recycled, rubber is not considered recyclable in Portugal, because this joint venture between private companies and the state, they decide what can be recycled or not there, and you can't. For example, if I want, I cannot collect and sell garbage on the street or do whatever I want because I don't have this seal. I must constitute a private company, pay taxes, and etc. So this raises one important question and a topic that is about control. So what is being controlled? The philosophy is much more just do it. They are really private workers. They work with the same residues that the others work, but they work for private companies. So they are told just to do it, just to separate the garbage, just to press the garbage, and so on. Well, I forgot, but I'm going to say again something important here. This control is not about only the climate of work or the conditions of work. If we take a look about the main topic of the presentation, that are the residues, this raises an important issue, because if they decide that, for example, rubber is not recyclable, where it goes? To the landfills. And you are not allowed to create, to invent. Well, now the last one, from Porto Alegre, Brazil. There are both private employees or public employees. There are also individuals who walk in the streets collecting garbage. There are also families who are together collecting garbage. And there are collective organizations founded by these waste collectors that once were individually collecting in the streets alone. Well, the same as Bangladesh, the same as Chittagong concerning the intermediaries. There are also in Brazil intermediaries, people who buy from these street collectors and who sell to the industries. Is that all? No. The main issue I want to talk is about that. It's about what people make different. People, for example, use materials to build their own houses. So what cannot be sold and what cannot be recycled, or something that can be sold, but they invent different means. So, for example, if you take a look here, it's in Rio de Janeiro, another Brazilian city. This is a river. The guy, he put his house on the top of 3,000 PET bottles, plastic bottles. And you see, he made I don't know how to say, our house that floats, and he was homeless, he lived in the streets, and now with trash, he invented his house, and now he's not homeless anymore. Here you have art made by trash, and here clothes, I don't know because the picture is small, but there are like 40 or 50 pants here. Everything that is here is a bazaar, a public selling thing, that everything comes in the garbage. So for example, if it was in Portugal, clothes are considered non-recycling. So all of these clothes would go to the landfill. and they recover the clothes, they put new accessories, they transform. Yeah, they make something consumable, but at least it doesn't go to the landfill. So these are some produced things with the garbage. And now the last slide, back to where we started. You see that no matter the place you are in the globe, the worker's income that works with garbage is strictly related to commodities markets, because all the materials that are considered recyclable, metals, paper, bottles, and so on, they are commoditized. So the workers' income are low, and they are not equal around the globe, but they have a connection with the price of the commodities. Now, the questions I asked with the paper. Is it possible to say that all these workers around the globe, they have a single enemy? I mean, just one capitalism? Is that about it? Just one? Do all these workers respond or construct a unique logic? Do they help construct a unique capitalist logic? And do these experiences I showed in these 4 cities around the globe, do they propose or represent or present real alternatives to the capitalist logic? It's just that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.